What is today? Oscar the Grouch Day is celebrated on June 1st, which is also the birthday of Oscar the Grouch. It was Sesame Street episode 3866 that revealed that Oscar's birthday is on June 1st. Oscar the Grouch is a Muppet character created by Jim Henson and John Stone for the PBS children's television program Sesame Street. The Oscar Muppet was orange for the first season of Sesame Street and then changed to green, which remained his permanent color. This was explained within the show by a visit to Swamp Mushy Muddy. Although the term Grouch describes Oscar's interaction with other characters, it also refers to his species. The character was originally performed by Carol Spinney from the show's first episode on November 10th of 1969 until Spinney's retirement in 2018. Eric Jacobson began understudying for the character in 2015 and has taken over ever since Spinney's retirement in 2018. Oscar does not know what it means to have a happy birthday due to his total grouchiness, but we will wish him a happy birthday regardless. He'll probably be grouchy about it, but he's grouchy about everything. What is today? National Donut Day falls, or should we say rolls, on the first Friday in June each year, and we celebrate those delicious fried dough confections this year on June 2nd. National Donut Day started in 1938 as a fundraiser for Chicago's The Salvation Army. Their goal was to help those in need during the Great Depression and to honor the Salvation Army lassies, or donut girls, of World War I who served donuts to soldiers. The origins of National Donut Day are tracked back to the entrance of the United States into World War I in 1917. The Salvation Army sent a fact-finding mission to France. The mission concluded that the needs of the American enlisted men could be met by canteens and social centers, termed huts, established by the Salvation Army near Army training centers that could serve baked goods, provide writing supplies and stamps, and provide a clothes mending service. The simple donut became a symbol of the Salvation Army. The simple donut eased the hardships of the frontline fighting men. What is today? National Trails Day on the first Saturday in June recognizes all the incredible benefits federal, state, and local trails provide for recreation and exposure to nature. The history of National Trails Day stretches back almost 50 years. Back then, there were no government-mandated trails for walking and other leisure activities. This changed when President Lyndon B. Johnson made a law which established trails that people could use for recreation. On October 2nd, 1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson signs into law the National Trail System Act, establishing national recreation, scenic, and historic trails. During his administration, over 50 new parks were added to the park system, and many existing ones were expanded. The American Hiking Society, which by then was a big name in the world of hiking, decided it needed to devise a scheme to further incentivize people to take up volunteering and activities to maintain and enjoy the country's hiking trails. On June 5th of 1993, the American Hiking Society, under the direction of David Lillard, launches its first ever National Trails Day. Meow! What is today? June 4th, Hug Your Cat Day, sometimes referred to as National Hug Your Cat Day, is an unofficial holiday celebrated on June 4th. It is a perfect opportunity for all cat owners to express a little extra love to their furry companions. Though cats are usually not as social as dogs, they can still get lonely, especially when they haven't had much time with their humans. Signs of cat loneliness can be lethargy, poor grooming, destructive behavior, and loss of appetite. A simple hug for your cat can remedy all that. The earliest known evidence for the occurrence of the domestic cat in Greece dates to around 1200 BC. Greek, Phoenician, Carthaginian, and Etruscan traders introduced domestic cats to southern Europe. By the end of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century, the Egyptian domestic cat lineage had arrived in a Baltic Sea port in northern Germany. In the ancient Egyptian days, cats were worshipped and glorified. They were revered and spoiled by people. Go ahead and spoil your cat today. Give him or her a big hug. Make sure they want one, though. You know how moody those cats can be. Watch out for those claws. What is today? Hot Air Balloon Day is celebrated on June 5th. Did you know that the hot air balloon is the oldest form of aviation? The French brothers Joseph Michel and Jacques-Étienne Montgolfier developed a hot air balloon in Ardèche, France, and demonstrated it publicly on September 19th of 1783, making an unmanned flight lasting 10 minutes. After experimenting with flights with animals, the first balloon flight with humans aboard, a tethered flight, was performed on or around October 15th of 1783 by Jean-Francis Pilatre de Rosière. The first free flight with human passengers was made a few weeks later on November 21st of 1783. King Louis XVI had originally decreed that condemned criminals would be the first pilots, but de Rosière, along with Marquis Francis de Orlandez, petitioned successfully for the honor. Jean-Pierre Blancard became the first person to fly a hot air balloon in various countries, including the United States, the Netherlands, and Germany. His most notable flight crossed the English Channel, heading to Dover Castle, accompanied by Dr. John Jeffries, which occurred on January 7th of 1785. What is today? National Drive-In Movie Day falls on June 6th, which is said to be the anniversary of the first ever drive-in opening in the U.S. This history is not entirely true. In my research, the first recorded instance of a drive-in theater was the Theater de Guadalupe, quickly renamed Deluxe Theater, which opened in Las Cruces, New Mexico on April 23rd of 1915. It closed soon after in 1916 for unknown reasons. In 1921, a drive-in was opened by Claude V. Caver in Comanche, Texas, with cars parked bumper to bumper. Patrons witnessed the screening of silent films from their vehicles. Due to logistical difficulties, that didn't last very long either. The first patented drive-in theater was opened in Camden, New Jersey by chemical company magnate Richard M. Hollingshead on June 6, 1933. Hollingshead made a small drive-in theater for his mom in his driveway and placed a big screen in his backyard with a Kodak projector on his car. Hollingshead decided to use that technique when opening his drive-in theater. The goal was to cater to the entire family in the open air. What is today? Chocolate ice cream is one of the 5 most popular ice cream flavors in the United States, and as of 2013 is second only to vanilla. This day falls on June 7th, probably created by some ice cream manufacturer to boost sales. The earliest frozen chocolate recipes were published in Naples, Italy in 1693 in Antonio Latini's book, The Modern Steward. Chocolate was one of the first ice cream flavors created before vanilla, as common drinks such as hot chocolate, coffee, and tea were the first food items to be turned into frozen desserts. Chocolate ice cream became popular in the United States in the late 19th century. The first advertisement for ice cream in America started in New York on May 12th of 1977 when Philip Lindsay announced that ice cream was officially available almost every day. Until 1800, ice cream was a rare and exotic dessert enjoyed mostly by the elite. Around 1800, insulated houses were invented and manufacturing ice cream soon became an industry in America. So there you go, Nancy Pelosi. F you and your gourmet ice cream. What is today? The Ocean Project has coordinated the June 8th World Oceans Day since 1992. At the first World Ocean Day, the objectives were to move the ocean from the sidelines to the center of the intergovernmental and NGO discussions and policy, and to strengthen the voice of ocean and coastal constituencies worldwide. According to their official website, the Ocean Project catalyzes collective actions for a healthy ocean and a stable climate by collaborating with youth leaders, zoos, aquariums, museums, and other community organizations. We are growing a global network that effectively engages the public, informs policymakers, and strives to protect our blue planet. Everything the Ocean Project does is based on the values of collaboration, inclusion, impact, and respect for all people in life. We recognize that a healthy ocean is essential for life, allowing humans and the rest of nature to survive and thrive. The struggle is real. Do your part. Throwing away a piece of garbage you find in the water isn't going to kill you. What is today? Donald Fauntleroy Duck is a cartoon character created by the Walt Disney Company. Donald Duck's first film appearance was in the 1934 cartoon The Wise Little Hen, which was part of the Silly Symphony series of theatrical cartoon shorts. The film's given release date of June 9th is officially recognized by the Walt Disney Company as Donald's birthday, though historian J.B. Kaufman discovered in recent years that The Wise Little Hen was first shown on May 3rd, 1934, at the Carthay Circle Theater for a benefit program, while its official debut was on June 7th at the Radio City Music Hall. Burt Gillette brought Donald back in a 1934 Mickey Mouse cartoon Orphans Benefit. The character began appearing regularly in most Mickey Mouse cartoons. Donald's first voice was performed by Clarence Nash, who voiced him for 50 years. Nash voiced Donald for the last time in Mickey's Christmas Carol, making Donald the only character in the film to be voiced by his original voice actor. What is today? The Belmont Stakes is not something you put on your grill. The event is held on June 10th at Belmont Park in New York. The Belmont Stakes is the oldest and longest of the 3 classic horse races that make up the Triple Crown of American horse racing, together with the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes. The Belmont Stakes are named after August Belmont, who was a German-American financier who made quite a name and fortune for himself in New York politics and society. He was also a thoroughbred racehorse owner and was also quite involved in horse racing, and his imprint is even intertwined within the history of the Kentucky Derby. The first running of the Belmont Stakes was in 1867 at Jerome Park. At a mile and 5 furlongs, the conditions included an entry fee of $200, half forfeit with $1,500 added. Furthermore, not only is the Belmont the oldest Triple Crown race, but it is the 4th oldest race overall in North America. The Belmont Stakes, they're not horsing around. Actually, they are horsing around. What is today? Just when you think you've heard the most bizarre shit ever, there's a day that needs to up the ante. Don't get me wrong, I love bizarre shit. Yarn Bombing Day is celebrated on June 11th each year. Yarn bombing is a type of graffiti or street art that employs colorful displays of knitted or crocheted yarn or fiber rather than paint or chalk. It is also called wool bombing, yarn storming, guerrilla knitting, knitify, urban knitting, or graffiti knitting. The practice is believed to have originated in the US with Texas knitters trying to find a creative way to use their leftover and unfinished knitting projects, but it has since spread worldwide. The start of this movement has been attributed to Magda Sayeg from Houston, who says she first got the idea in 2005 when she covered the door handle of her boutique with a custom-made koozie. Joanne Matvichuk of Lethbridge, Alberta, founded International Yarn Bombing Day, which was first observed on June 11th, 2011. Be creative and have fun on Yarn Bombing Day. Just make sure you clean up when you're done. What is today? Superman Day was established as a yearly event by DC Comics on June 12th of 2013, 2 days before the release of the feature film Man of Steel, in which Henry Cavill played the part of Superman. Superman was created by writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster and debuted in the comic book Action Comics 1, cover dated June 1938. Superman has been adapted to a number of other media, including radio serials, novels, films, television shows, theater productions, and video games. Superman was born on the fictional planet Krypton and was named Kal-El. When he was a baby, his parents sent him to Earth in a small spaceship moments before Krypton was destroyed in a natural cataclysm. His ship landed in the American countryside near the fictional town of Smallville. He was found and adopted by farmers Jonathan and Martha Kent, who named him Clark Kent. Clark developed various superhuman abilities such as incredible strength and impervious skin. His adoptive parents advised him to use his abilities for the benefit of humanity, and he decided to fight crime as Superman. What is today? It should keep you in stitches. Did you know there were sewing machine wars? I'm not talking about physical altercations, heated ones at best. A little backstabbing, shenanigans, and lawsuits. The invention is a fascinating story, so with this episode, we're going to do a deep dive into the origins of the sewing machine. I haven't done a long-form video for this channel in a while, but I felt like I couldn't do this day and story justice without threading the needle. I credit the Smithsonian, Wikipedia, and ChatGPT for the information in this video cross-referenced among the three. Let's get into the fabric of the details. Before the sewing machine, tailors and sewists created clothing by hand, stitched by a single stitch. The concept of a mechanical device to aid in sewing can be traced back to the 18th century. Various inventors in Europe, including Charles Wiesenthal in 1755 England and Thomas Saint in 1790 England, made early attempts at creating sewing machines. However, their designs were not widely adopted or commercially successful. In 1790, the English inventor Thomas Saint invented the first sewing machine design. His machine was meant to be used on leather and canvas material. The device included many practically functional features: an overhanging arm, a feed mechanism adequate for short lengths of leather, a vertical needle bar, and a looper. Saint created the machine to overall reduce the amount of hand stitching on garments, making sewing more reliable and functional. The first American lot-stitch sewing machine was invented by Walter Hunt in 1833. It could have been 1832 or 1833 or 1834. I don't know. My research came up with inconsistent years. The Smithsonian has it at 1833, so we'll go with that. In 1833, Walter Hunt, an American inventor, created a sewing machine with a curved needle. Hunt's machine used a needle with the eye and the point on the same end carrying the upper thread and a falling shuttle carrying the lower thread. The curved needle moved through the fabric horizontally, leaving the loop as it withdrew. Hunt did not patent his invention due to concerns that it would negatively impact the livelihood of seamstresses. The first machine to combine all the disparate elements of the previous half-century of innovation into the modern sewing machine was a device built by English inventor John Fisher in 1844, a little earlier than the very similar machines built by Isaac Singer and Elias Howe. Keep John Fisher's name in mind, as he kind of got screwed over this whole deal. Elias Howe, an American inventor, is often credited with the the invention of the first practical sewing machine. In 1846, Howe received a patent for his sewing machine design, which featured a lock-stitch mechanism using 2 threads and a needle with an eye near the point. This design formed the basis for subsequent sewing machines. Isaac Merritt Singer, an American entrepreneur, played a crucial role in popularizing and commercializing the sewing machine. In 1851, he patented an improved version of the sewing machine, which incorporated various innovations, like a foot treadle for powering the machine and a horizontal needle. So the story goes, Singer had seen a rotary sewing machine being repaired in a Boston shop. As an engineer, he thought it was clumsy and decided to design a better one. The machine he devised used a falling shuttle instead of a rotary one. The needle was mounted vertically and included a presser foot to hold the cloth in place. It had a fixed arm to hold the needle and included a basic tension system. Singer was granted an American patent in 1851, and the foot treadle, used since the Middle Ages, used to convert reciprocating to rotary motion, was adopted to drive the sewing machine, leaving both hands free. A dispute arose when Singer began manufacturing and selling sewing machines based on his design, which Ellis Howe believed infringed upon his patent invention. Howe filed a lawsuit against Singer in 1854 alleging patent infringement. The legal battle between Howe and Singer lasted several years and became a highly publicized case. Both sides presented arguments and evidence to support their claims. Howe argued that Singer's machine was essentially a copy of his patented design, while Singer claimed that his machine incorporated significant improvements that made it distinct from Howe's invention. In 1854, a court ruled in favor of Howe, finding that Singer's machine did indeed infringe on Howe's patent. This ruling was significant as it upheld the validity of Howe's patent and established a legal precedent for protecting inventors' rights in the sewing machine industry. As a result of the dispute, Isaac Singer entered into a licensing agreement with Elias Howe. Singer paid Howe royalties for each sewing machine sold, allowing Singer to continue manufacturing and selling his machines while compensating Howe for the use of his patented technology. The dispute between Elias Howe and Isaac Singer highlighted the competitive and contentious environment surrounding sewing machine innovation during that time. Could you imagine that reality show? While Howe's patent and his successful legal action against Singer solidified his status as a key contributor to sewing machine development, Singer's improvements in business acumen also played a significant role in popularizing and commercializing sewing machines. That brings us back to the unfortunate circumstances of John Fisher. Howe and Singer were able to receive the patents over John Fisher due to botched filings of Fisher's patent at the patent office. Fisher did not receive due recognition for the modern sewing machine in the legal disputes of priority with Singer, and Singer reaped the benefits of the patent, as well as Howe. Through the 1850s and 1860s, the sewing machine quickly gained popularity and was increasingly used in the garment factories. With its ability to stitch quickly and accurately, the sewing machine transformed the textile industry, leading to increased production and efficiency. Allen B. Wilson developed a shuttle that reciprocated in a short arc, which was an improvement over Singer and Howe's. John Bradshaw had patented a similar device and threatened to sue, so Wilson decided to try a new method. They're all suing each other. He went into partnership with Nathaniel Wheeler to produce a machine with a rotary hook instead of a shuttle. This was far quieter and smoother than other methods, with the result that the Wheeler and Wilson Company produced more machines in the 1850s and 1860s than any other manufacturer. Wilson also invented the 4-motion feed mechanism that is still used on every sewing machine today. This had a forward, down, back, and up motion, which drew the cloth through in an even and smooth motion. Charles Miller patented the first machine to stitch buttonholes. Throughout the 1850s, more and more companies were being formed, each trying to sue the others for patent infringement. This triggered a patent thicket known as the Sewing Machine War. In 1856, the Sewing Machine Combination was formed. Combination? Sewing Machine Combination? I would have called it like the Sewing Machine Consortium or the Sewing Machine League. In 1856, the Sewing Machine Combination was formed, consisting of Singer, Howe, Wheeler, Wilson, and Grover and Baker. These 4 companies pooled their patents, with the result that all other manufacturers had to obtain a license for $15 per machine. This lasted until 1877, when the last patent expired. It seems kind of silly now, but I'm sure it was a big deal back in the late 1800s. Who would have thought sewing machines and the evolution of sewing machines would have had such drama, waiting for the streaming series on Netflix or Amazon Prime to pop up? Over the years, numerous inventors and companies made significant advancements in sewing machine technology. These innovations included the introduction of electrically powered sewing machines in the late 19th century and the development of specialized machines for different sewing tasks like embroidering, buttonholing, and zigzag stitching. In the 20th century, sewing machines continued to evolve, incorporating new features and improvements. Computerized sewing machines emerged in the 1970s, which offered programmable stitch patterns and automatic functions. Today, sewing machines are available in various models, from basic mechanical machines to advanced computerized systems with touchscreen and integrated software. The sewing machine has had a profound impact on the textile industry, enabling the mass production of clothing and other fabric items. It has also empowered individuals to create their own garments and express their creativity through sewing. The continuous advancements in sewing machine technology have made sewing more accessible, efficient, and versatile. As far as how we got to have a sewing machine day and the origins behind it, I consulted my friend ChatGPT. The best invention since, well, the sewing machine, of course. According to ChatGPT, Sewing Machine Day is not a widely recognized or official holiday. It does not have a specific creator or organization associated with it. It is more of an informal observance that has gained popularity among sewing enthusiasts and communities over time. The exact origins of Sewing Machine Day are unclear, but it is likely that it emerged as a way to honor and celebrate the invention of the sewing machine and its impact on society. People who are passionate about sewing and appreciate the history and significance of the sewing machine may choose to commemorate this day in various ways, such as organizing events, sharing information, or engaging in sewing-related activities. Whether you're a professional seamstress, a hobbyist, or simply someone who appreciates the art of sewing, Sewing Machine Day offers a chance to recognize the machine's significance and its impact on various aspects of our lives. Terrible joke time. I stole these, so you can't blame me. I can't remember any sewing jokes. I'm running out of materials. My friend composes songs about sewing machines. He's a singer-songwriter. My wife's sewing machine isn't working properly. Not sure what's wrong with it, though. It just seems a little off. How did you know the thief was a seamstress? She seemed to be following a pattern. Why are Christmas trees so bad at sewing? Because they drop all their needles. Girl goes to a doctor. Girl says, "Hi, doctor. Have you found out what my condition is yet?" Doctor says, "Yes. Do you like sewing?" Girl says, "Yes, but what does that have to do with any of this?" Doctor goes, "You seem stressed." All right, I'm going now. Have a good sewing machine day. Go sew. In the United States, Flag Day is celebrated on June 14th. It commemorates the adoption of the flag of the United States on June 14th, 1777, by resolution of the Second Continental Congress. The first flag featured the same 13 red and white stripes we see today. However, the number and arrangement of stars have changed as the number of states has increased over the centuries. The current flag has remained the same since 1960. An interesting note is that Francis Hopkinson of New Jersey, a naval flag designer and a signer of the Declaration of Independence, designed a flag in 1777 while he was the chairman of the Continental Navy Board's Middle Department. I was taught in school a million years ago Betsy Ross designed the first flag. She didn't. Feminists should have a field day with this one. Betsy Ross reconstructed early design for the flag of the United States, which is conformant to the Flag Act of 1777 and has red stripes outermost and stars arranged in a circle. I credit both of them, as I'm an equal opportunity historian. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson issued a proclamation that officially established June 14th as Flag Day. On August 3rd of 1949, National Flag Day was established by an act of Congress. Flag Day is not an official federal holiday, however, it is at the president's discretion to officially proclaim the observation. Hartford, Connecticut resident George Morris was the first known person to suggest a day to celebrate the flag as the country faced its first year of the Civil War, according to Kansas Encyclopedia of State History. On Morris's suggestion, Hartford reportedly celebrated the day on June 14th of 1861. It's reported during the event, residents prayed for the continuation of the Union and the success of the federal arms. The National Flag Day Foundation holds an annual observance for Flag Day on the second Sunday in June. The program includes a ceremonial raising of the national flag, the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance, the singing of the national anthem, a parade, and other events. Flag Day reminds us that we are one country, united despite our disagreements. What is today? National Megalodon Day is celebrated on June 15th. A megalodon is an extinct species of giant shark that ruled the ocean approximately 20 million years ago. It is widely regarded as one of the largest and most powerful predators to have ever existed. They were formidable predators feeding on a variety of marine animals, including whales and large fish. Their teeth, designed for shearing and cutting through flesh, indicate that they were highly efficient hunters. The phosphate deposits currently mined near Aurora, North Carolina, also known as Lee Creek, produce some of the finest and most well-preserved examples of fossilized megalodon teeth in the world. A gentleman by the name of Dr. Bruce Wolfe supported a special day in observation for his local Aurora Fossil Museum in Aurora, North Carolina. Dr. Bruce Wolfe, a longtime supporter of the AFM, spearheaded the effort to get the North Carolina legislature to designate the Aurora Fossil Museum as a North Carolina state attraction. Why June 15th, you ask? Well, that is the day that the museum first opened its doors, on June 15th of 1978. What is today? Fresh Veggies Day is observed and celebrated on June 16th to encourage people to increase their daily intake of fresh produce. Nutritionists agree that the average person doesn't consume enough fresh vegetables. Fresh vegetables are the best source of micronutrients that are vital for metabolism, growth, development, and disease prevention. In the United States, on May 15th, 1862, Abraham Lincoln established the Independent Department of Agriculture. Agriculturist Isaac Newton was appointed to be the first commissioner. The United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, is the federal executive department responsible for developing and executing federal laws relating to farming, forestry, rural economic development, and food. It aims to meet the needs of commercial farming and livestock food production, promotes agriculture trade and production, works to assure food safety, protects natural resources, fosters rural communities, and works to end hunger in the United States and internationally. Eat your vegetables. I want you to be healthy and live long so you can keep coming back to this YouTube channel and fill yourself with daily knowledge. What is today? World Juggling Day is an annual event celebrated by jugglers and juggling enthusiasts around the world. It takes place on the Saturday closest to June 17th each year. The International Jugglers Association, the IJA, is an organization behind this global celebration. They were founded on June 17th, 1947. The earliest record of juggling is suggested in a panel from a tomb of an unknown Egyptian prince. The tomb shows a drawing of female dancers and acrobats throwing balls. Juggling in ancient China was an art performed by some warriors. One such warrior was Zhang Yil, I think, whose juggling of 9 balls in front of troops on a battlefield reportedly caused the opposing troops to flee without fighting, resulting in a complete victory. Is that actually true? Who the hell knows? World Juggling Day was first honored in 1995 by the International Juggling Association. World Juggling Day aims to promote and celebrate the art of juggling in all its forms. Juggling clubs, workshops, performances, and juggling festivals are organized in various locations worldwide to mark this occasion. What is today? In 2009, International Sushi Day was proclaimed by Chris DeMay, who administered a sushi Facebook page. June 18th was the day chosen with the idea to encourage people to enjoy more delicious sushi. Sushi is a popular Japanese cuisine that originated in ancient China around the 2nd century AD as a method of preserving fish by fermenting it with rice and salt. This technique allowed the fish to be stored for several months. The concept of sushi eventually made its way to Japan. In the 8th century, Japanese people started eating fish with rice, but they did not ferment it like the Chinese. Instead, they preserved the fish by packing it with rice and salt and then letting it ferment naturally. During the Muromachi period of 1336 to 1573, people began eating the rice along with the fish instead of discarding it. In the mid-20th century, after World War II, sushi gained international popularity as Japan experienced a period of rapid economic growth. Sushi restaurants began to open around the world, introducing people from different cultures to this unique cuisine. What is today? Father's Day is a holiday honoring one's father or relevant father figure, as well as fatherhood. In the United States, it is Sonora Smart Dodd who is credited as the founder of the official American national holiday. While hearing a church sermon about the newly recognized Mother's Day at Central Methodist Episcopal Church, Sonora felt strongly that fatherhood needed recognition as well. She approached the Spokane Ministerial Alliance and suggested her own father's birthday on June 5th as the day of honor for fathers. The Alliance chose the third Sunday in June instead. The first Father's Day was celebrated June 19th of 1910 in Spokane, Washington. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson sent a telegraph to Spokane praising Father's Day services. In 1966, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed a presidential proclamation declaring the third Sunday of June as Father's Day. In 1972, President Nixon established a permanent national observance of Father's Day to be held on the third Sunday of June each year. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. What is today? Juneteenth, also known as Juneteenth Independence Day or Freedom Day, is an annual holiday celebrated in the United States on June 19th. Juneteenth commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States. On June 19th of 1865, Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced General Order No. 3, which declared that all slaves in Texas were free. This announcement came more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which had legally freed slaves in Confederate states, but was not effectively enforced in Texas until Granger's arrival. Juneteenth marks the end of slavery in the United States and is considered a symbolic day of freedom and equality. It is an opportunity to reflect on the struggles and achievements of African Americans and to celebrate their culture and contributions to society. In recent years, Juneteenth has gained more widespread recognition and support. On June 17th of 2021, Juneteenth was officially recognized as a federal holiday when President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law. What is today? Garfield is a fictional cat and the protagonist of the comic strip of the same name. The comic strip centers on Garfield, portrayed as a lazy, fat, and cynical orange tabby Persian cat. He is noted for his love of lasagna, sleeping, and his hatred of Mondays. Cartoonist Jim Davis was born in 1945 and raised in Muncie, Indiana. In 1973, Davis created a comic strip, Norm Nat, which ran only in the Pendleton Times from 1973 to 1975 and met with little success. One editor told Davis that his art was good, his gags were great, but nobody can identify with bugs. Davis changed focus, having grown up on a farm with 25 cats, thus was created the character of Garfield. He took his name and personality from Davis's grandfather, James A. Garfield Davis, whom he described as a large, cantankerous man. Garfield has spawned merchandise earning $750 million to $1 billion annually. In addition to the various merchandise and commercial tie-ins, the strip has spawned several animated television specials, 2 animated television series, 2 theatrical feature-length live-action CGI animated films, and 3 fully CGI animated direct-to-video films. What is today? National American Eagle Day is observed on June 20th each year in the United States. This day is dedicated to celebrating and raising awareness about the American bald eagle, which is the national bird and a symbol of the United States. The founding fathers deemed the bald eagle as the emblem of the nation. The fierce beauty and proud independence of this great bird aptly symbolizes the strength and freedom of America. Some eagle factoids for you on this day. There are about 60 species of eagles worldwide, with the bald eagle being the national bird and symbol of the United States. The average lifespan of bald eagles in the wild is around 20 years, with the oldest confirmed one having been 38 years of age. Bald eagles have a wingspan of around 6 to 7.5 feet. Eagles are known for their impressive flying skills. They can reach speeds up to 30 to 35 miles per hour during flight. Eagles are revered in many cultures and symbolize power, courage, and freedom. They often appear on flags, seals, and emblems of countries and organizations. Have a good American Eagle Day. What is today? The International Day of Yoga has been celebrated across the world annually on June 21st since 2015, following its inception in the United Nations General Assembly in 2014. There is no consensus of yoga's origins other than its development in ancient India. There are 2 broad theories explaining the origins of yoga. The linear model holds that yoga has Vedic origins and influenced Buddhism. This model is mainly supported by Hindu scholars. With the synthesis model, yoga is a synthesis of indigenous non-Vedic practices with Vedic elements. This model is favored in Western scholarships. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his UN address in 2014, had suggested the date of June 21st as it shares a special significance in many parts of the world. On June 21st, 2015, nearly 36,000 people, including Prime Minister Modi and many other high-profile political figures from all around the world, performed 21 yoga postures for 35 minutes in New Delhi in what was the first International Yoga Day. And the day has been celebrated around the globe ever since. That's a stretch. Get it? Pucker up, all you lovers out there. National Kissing Day on June 22nd is all about showing your affection and improving your health. You heard that most correctly. Kissing relieves stress, burns calories, and benefits your immunity. According to nationaltoday.com, historians believe the earliest references to kissing trace back to India, with 4 major texts in the Vedic Sanskrit literature referencing the supposed earliest forms of kissing. Dating from 1500 BC, these texts describe kissing as an act of rubbing and pressing noses together. The kiss went mainstream thanks to the Romans, and as the saying goes, do as the Romans do. And you can forget the when in Rome part, as kissing went global, baby. Kissing was used to show friendship back then, and only if the kiss was French did it show passion. Ancient Roman culture went so far as to create laws around the act, stating that if a virgin was kissed passionately in public, they could demand full marriage rights. Fast forward today, and you can see couples smooching everywhere without all the scandal, hence why we have a whole day to celebrate it. What is today? National Typewriter Day is June 23rd, and we're using the day to celebrate the written word. June 23rd is the anniversary of the granting of a patent to American inventor Christopher Latham Scholes on June 23rd of 1868, and is celebrated around the world as Typewriter Day. Although many modern typewriters have one of several similar designs, their invention was incremental, developed by numerous inventors working independently or in competition with each other over a series of decades. A number of people contributed insights and inventions that eventually resulted in more commercially successful instruments. Historians have estimated that some form of typewriter was invented 52 times as thinkers tried to come up with a workable design. By the late 20th century, typewriters were largely replaced by personal computers, printers, and word processors, which offered more advanced features in digital document storage. Typewriters hold historical significance as important predecessors to modern writing and office technologies. What is today? International Fairy Day is a day dedicated to celebrating the whimsical and magical world of fairies. Fairy enthusiasts and fantasy lovers observe this day on June 24th each year to honor these mythical creatures. The origins of fairies can be traced back to ancient mythologies and folklore. In Greek and Roman mythology, creatures such as nymphs, dryads, and sirens embody some fairy-like qualities. During the medieval and Renaissance periods, fairies became deeply ingrained in European folklore. They were often depicted as small supernatural beings with magical powers. Fairy tales played a significant role in popularizing fairy folklore. Renowned authors like Hans Christian Andersen and the Brothers Grimm incorporated fairies into their stories, presenting them as magical beings who interacted with humans. Today, fairies continue to captivate popular culture, appearing in books, movies, and various forms of media. They are often depicted as magical, ethereal beings associated with nature and possessing supernatural powers. What is today? I used to religiously watch Anthony Bourdain, and specifically his show, Parts Unknown. Bourdain hosted several shows. Parts Unknown is one I gravitated to. The show dealt with unique cuisine, booze, travel, history, and questions about life. Anthony Michael Bourdain was born on June 25th of 1956. He was an American celebrity, chef, author, and travel documentarian. He starred in programs focusing on the exploration of international culture, cuisine, and the human condition. In 2019, Bourdain Day was created by Jose Andre and Eric Rippert, fellow chefs and friends of Bourdain, who announced Bourdain Day is celebrated with the sharing of tributes and memories of Anthony Bourdain. Bourdain, who suffered from depression, took his own life on June 8th of 2018. At the age of 61. I watched his documentary movie in the theater when it came out in 2021. It's fascinating and I recommend it highly. To me, Bourdain was looking for answers he could not find, but taking your own life is permanent and you're not going to find your answers that way. Today we honor Bourdain's life. Seek out his show and documentary and enjoy your Bourdain Day. What is today? Each year on June 26th, National Chocolate Pudding Day gets us all excited for a serving of that creamy dessert. The origins of pudding in general can be traced back to ancient times when it was a way to preserve meat by stuffing animal intestines with various ingredients, and over time the concept of pudding evolved and sweet versions became popular. In Europe, chocolate was introduced from Mesoamerica, that's present-day Mexico and Central America, and during the Age of Exploration, and initially chocolate was consumed as a beverage, but it wasn't long before people started experimenting with using chocolate in desserts. Yummy. One of the earliest recorded chocolate pudding recipes dates back to the 17th century in a cookbook called The Whole Duty of a Woman, published in 1671. This recipe involved mixing grated chocolate with milk, sugar, and egg yolks, then cooking it until thickened. This early version of chocolate pudding was more akin to a custard or a sauce. In the mid-20th century, instant chocolate pudding mixes were introduced, which would eliminate the need for cooking. These instant mixes became immensely popular and remain a common option today. What is today? J27. Bingo! That's right. Get out those ink blotters, tune up those vocal cords, get ready to win yourself a $20 toaster. The origins of the game can be tracked back to a game of chance named Lotto, played in Italy by about 1530. In 18th century, a home version called Tombola was created in Naples with the addition of cards, tokens, and the calling out of numbers. In the early 1920s, Hugh J. Ward created and standardized the game at carnivals in and around Pittsburgh and the western Pennsylvania area. The game was further popularized by Edwin Lau while at a traveling carnival near Atlanta in December of 1929. The toy merchandisers saw people eagerly playing a game called Beano, following Ward's rules, with dried beans, a rubber stamp, and cardboard sheets. The origin of the name Bingo is unknown, but may date to the middle 1920s. There are claims that one of Lau's friends was so excited to have won that she yelled out Bingo instead of Beano. What is today? Celebrate June 28th by learning about a giant of American folklore, Paul Bunyan, and his trusty companion, Babe the Blue Ox, who are said to have created the Grand Canyon, the Mississippi River, and the Great Lakes, among other landmarks. First appearing in print in 1906 in a story published by Northern Michigan journalist James McGillivray, Bunyan's character originated in folk tales circulated among lumberjacks in northern United States and eastern Canada. In 1914, William Laffhead reworked the stories for a logging company's advertising campaign. The campaign breathed new life into the growing legendary character of Paul Bunyan. It was the 1922 edition of Laffhead's Tales that inspired many others, and soon the character's plaid shirt and far-fetched characteristics spread across all the United States and Canada. National Paul Bunyan Day was created to celebrate this influential bit of folklore and promote local business and tourism in numerous communities in the northern states. Today, stories about Paul Bunyan have appeared in more than 1,000 books, and this character is renowned as one of the most popular and recognizable characters in American folklore. What is today? Here's Mud in Your Eye on International Mud Day. International Mud Day is an annual event celebrated on June 29th, dedicated to encouraging children and adults to connect with nature through the joy of playing in the mud. International Mud Day began in 2009 at a World Forum event when Gillian McGulliff from Australia and Bisnu Bhatta from Nepal got together to talk about ways to encourage feelings of community and appreciation for the world around us. You would think there has always been mud since the birth of the planet Earth. The rise of plants on land corresponds with the rise of mud rock in the geological record. Mud began accumulating with the appearance of some of the earliest low-lying plants and then piled up in larger quantities once trees and shrubs evolved. When geologists talk about mud, they're referring to tiny particles that stick together when wet. Those particles have often broken down from larger rocks over time due to the force of winds, rain, ice, and snow. Fungi and microbes can break down rock and form mud as well. You know what I've done a couple times and it was fun? A mud run. This is a better day than any. What is today? National Corvette Day and Drive Your Corvette to Work Day. Two observances as one. It was June of 2008 in honor of the 55th anniversary of this classic car that the United States House of Representatives passed a resolution that June 30th would from that point forward be known as National Corvette Day. June 30th, 1953 is when General Motors rolled the first ever Corvette off the assembly line in Flint, Michigan, marking the start of production of America's first sports car. The first generation, known as C1, featured a fiberglass body, a straight six engine, and 2-speed automatic transmissions, and over the years, more powerful V8 engines were introduced, and the iconic design cues of the Corvette began to take shape. The National Corvette Museum was established in 1994 as a nonprofit organization to preserve the history of the Corvette and celebrate its legacy. It is situated on a 55-acre site adjacent to the Corvette assembly plant. Stop by and tell them Chris from What Is Today sent you. Show them this YouTube channel. I need the hits.